So yes, we are recording this webinar. So if you ever want to come back to reference any of the slides or information, this will be available on the website. As well, you can always reach out to myself or any of the Waterfront Alliance or HEP staff who are on the call today to ask questions. But before we get started, we'll do a quick poll to feel the tone of the room, see who all's here, see what you guys are looking to get out of today. So we'll share that poll now. So if you guys want to quickly answer that. Oh, I think these are just the, oh, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, people are responding.
Perfect. I realized I can't respond because I'm hosting. So I was like, where are the answers? So yeah, it looks like we've got a good mix of people today. We've got some people who have participated in City of Water Day before, some fresh faces. So very excited to see that there's some new people here. And of course, we love to have our returning partners. Pretty even split on hosting events. So that's good to know. Good to know. Maybe today will convince everyone. And then inspiration, information, all the above. Love to hear it. Well, you're definitely going to get inspiration today, information, and then any sort of partnerships and connections. No one clicked that, but if you are inspired to partner with someone, today can hopefully make those connections. So, all right, I think we'll go ahead and end the poll. Perfect. I'm going to share the results so everyone can see. Nice. So thanks for everybody who joined us. All right, we'll get started now. So next slide. So hi, City of Water Day. For those of you who have participated before, welcome back. Love to see that you guys are returning for City of Water Day again this year in our 17th year. For those of you who are not familiar with City of Water Day, I'll give you a quick history. Waterfront Alliance and the Municipal Arts Society, where we originally were formulated back in 2007, released a documentary called City of Water that really kicked off the idea of advocating for a diverse and vibrant New York, New Jersey waterfront. In 2008, we kind of kicked off the first official City of Water Day. You'll see the little banner there, the first ever City of Water Day banner back when we were the Metropolitan Waterfront Alliance. The cool thing about that first year was that we partnered with the City Council to release the Comprehensive Waterfront Plan update, which hadn't been updated in 20 years, and use City of Water Day to garner public comments. And because of that, it has become an annual tradition to bring awareness and advocacy and access, direct access to our waterfronts and waterways in the region. In the recent years, as many of you probably know, Waterfront Alliance partnered with the Harbor and Estuary Program to elevate City of Water Day and take it not only from its original impetus on Governor's Island, but to build it out into a region-wide day where there's events that are hosted in the communities, in all of our boroughs of New York and of course in New Jersey as well. So we've really expanded this into being a huge, massive day of awareness and fun. Now in its 17th year, City of Water Day is a region-wide day to champion climate resilient New York and New Jersey through free public events. Next slide, we'll just show you guys some quick pictures from the first City of Water Day. So for any of those returning members, I don't know if you guys recognize any of the faces here, but you'll see the City Council member there kicking off. With Roland. I think that's Rob from HEP over in the bottom left corner. So kind of fun to see, how far we've come as a community and how strong we've maintained this waterfront community. So if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see pictures from last year's event in 2023. These are pictures that were pulled from the photo collection tool that we used this past year. So again, for those returning partners, if you submitted photos, you can see those on the website, and I pulled out some key highlights here. So if you see yourself, put in the chat, say hi. But we're so excited to have this beautiful archive of waterfront photography. So if you guys are looking for that, that's on the City of Water Day website. Where those Rocking the Boat Whitehall's potentially we've Rocking the Boat's been on for a while. as a partner. I think the pictures from last year were from the partners you can see listed here: Yonkers, Groundwork Elizabeth, Hudson River, Lower East Side, Restoration Project, Shirley Chisholm. So great group. But that's the history. So if you guys are looking for more information about, you know, how City of Water Day came to be, or access to photos, sorry if you can hear my cat screaming. You can access those on the website. So next slide. So speaking of the website, this is going to be a key tool for you guys this year. For many years, we've had cityofwaterday.org, but last year we launched a brand new website, of a new cityofwaterday.org website. That website's going to have all of the information that you guys need to produce amazing events for City of Water Day, get people to come out and see the work that you're doing. So the website will has a library of info. So that's of course going to include the application, which I'll turn over to Liz to talk about in a second. The application information and the form for the application are both on the website, and they're live as of this morning. So yay, we'll talk about that in a second. It also has the photo event archive, which we do have photos going back to 2008, which is kind of crazy. There's also partner material, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But once you guys register your City of Water Day event, we do provide additional materials to help you promote that, whether it's social media graphics, email copy, templates for you to use to promote your event, logos for City of Water Day. All of that stuff is going to be available on the website under the partner materials tab, which is not live yet, but will be. So keep checking that website to see those details come up in the next few weeks. Again, once you guys submit and apply and are approved for your events, those events will also be listed on the website under the event sitemap. So for those of you who participated last year, you'll remember that it's that Google map where we've got all the different events listed. You can search by location, you can search by partner. It's a very cool interactive map to see the whole region and all of the City of Water Day activities that are happening. And then of course, there's other key information on the website, such as frequently asked questions, a contact us form if you need to reach out to the City of Water Day organization team. But it's a really robust site, so definitely be sure to bookmark that and keep checking it for information. If there's something that you guys aren't seeing on the website that you would like to see, some information that would be helpful to you, please reach out to us, submit something on the contact form, comment here in the chat. But you know, we're here to help you guys produce really excellent events and get the community out on the water. So let us know how we can help. But that City of Water Day site is up and ready for you guys to use. Next slide. So as I mentioned, when Liz talks, she'll talk briefly about the application in a moment, and we'll go through the details of that. But once you guys have decided on your City of Water Day event, you guys are ready to start planning and promoting. As I mentioned, there will be a partner toolkit on the website to support you guys with this. And so that'll include social media copy and graphics, email copy and graphics, logos, images, key event information. Again, if there's something else that you're going to need, let us know and we can make that available on the partner toolkit. But that will be available once the application window has closed. So we'll talk about that shortly. Next slide.
I think that's me.
Now time to talk about applications. So I'll turn it over to Liz.
Thank you, Aria, for that brief history of City of Water Day. It was really fun to take a look at those pictures back from all the way in 2008. If anybody has any questions for Aria, please make sure to drop them on the chat. We want to make sure that you walk away from this info session having as much information as possible. So we'd be happy to follow up, even if we can't address them all during this call today. But I wanted to just touch on the application process for this year, talk a little bit about our theme and talk about those grants. But before that, I did also just want to cover some of the major highlights from last year. We had a very exciting, and I know we say this every year, it's the best City of Water Day yet, but it really is. So we're excited for this year because, you know, if we can make it even better than last year, you know, it'll be a great time. This is just a quick snapshot of some of the really cool events that took place last year. As you can see, they were all across the New York, New Jersey harbor. And to just call out a few examples that kind of show you the diversity of the events and that it really is about a neighborhood being different, but also exciting. We had musical performances in Weequahic Park, which is in Newark. It was actually their very first City of Water Day, and they fell in love with it, and they want to go ahead and continue making it an annual celebration. So we're very excited about that. We had a biking tour hosted by Randall's Island Park Alliance in coordination with Bronx Unite and BioBuzz, where they took participants out on a waterfront tour of the Harlem River. Then we had folks at Fresh Kills Park Association also join us for the first time, and they had a series of events which included a cleanup as well as a kayak tour where they took their participants to be able to take a look at some of the wonderful habitat around the park. So I thought that was really exciting happening in Staten Island. And then we had our friends at Jamaica Bay hold a series of events all across the Rockaways, which included kayaking, but they also had other wonderful programs as part of their Jamaica Bay Festival, which takes place every year on City of Water Day. So that was just a quick snapshot of some of the things that we saw and that we hope to continue expanding even more this year. And to kind of just give you some brief info in terms of numbers, we had more than 80 applications last year. I know that trust me, we wish we could fund every single one. We did have to narrow it down to 28, but we're happy to say that these were 28 really great local orgs and community-based groups that signed up to be a host, and the breakdown between those grants included 16 New Jersey partners and 12 New Jersey partners, for a total of $73,000, which was distributed last year as part of these small grants. And so our hope is to continue expanding this pot of money by bringing in new sponsors and just doing our best to make sure that the small grants are going to the organizations that need it most to put these events together. And the events last year, they ranged between kayaking to boating to, again, art performances and musical performances. And so we were really happy to be able to see such a wide range of different programs, and still connected everyone back to the waterfront, which I think it's so important. So moving on to this year. The goals for this year are the same. We wanted to continue supporting dozens of partners in bringing City of Water Day to their communities. So we want to continue to offer that support, and the range still sticking between $1,000 to $4,000. So if you remember way back when, these really used to be like micro grants of about $500. And so we're just so happy that we're able to continue having a bit of a bump in terms of these grants. And so we're excited that this can help partners add a couple more pieces to their programs and really help them with the impact of their events. And as every year, we do prioritize organizations that are doing the work on these events in environmental justice and underserved communities. So we love to uplift that work. And so we always encourage our partners to also work with these communities to be able to put programs together. And so just focusing a little bit on this year's theme, some of you who are more familiar with City of Water Day know that we have a theme every year. And if you are more in tune with some of the stuff that happened, Waterfront Alliance are working on in the background, there's a lot of planning happening. There's a lot of planning going on in terms of revising our long-term goals and looking to the future. And so this year's theme really relates to that, really stems from that. To just give you a bit of background on our theme this year, which this year is centers on uniting New York and New Jersey communities in a celebration of our interconnected waters and a commitment to a brighter, more climate resilient future. It really ties back to, again, a lot of this planning that we have going on in the background, and more particularly to have it ties to our action agenda, which I'm going to ask Zoe to drop that link in the chat for you. as I go through this. And if you're not too familiar, our action agenda is really the blueprint for how the program makes management decisions across the estuary. And so the goal of this is really to be able to build on events like City of Water Day and using that as a way to gather more input and gather more community voices into this planning. We really want to make sure that we are able to hear from as many communities as possible as we revise this document right here. And so again, we want to build on City of Water Day to be able to collect this really important information. So our theme this year, it ties back to let's talk to our communities, let's identify what their goals and their concerns are, and how can we take this feedback and this ideas and thoughts and plan together to make a plan for the future, for a brighter future, and to make sure that their voices are included and to make sure that they see themselves in a lot of this planning that's taking place. So one quick way of how we're hoping to do this is by forming a brief survey for you that we will then include in our partner toolkit, which is what Aria talked a little bit about earlier. It'll be something simple. It'll probably be something that we'll just ask folks to prioritize or to think about in terms of what they want to see for their community. And so, don't think it's going to be anything too intense in terms of gathering feedback. And we'll make this available for you. And for the partners that are thinking about going, above and beyond in terms of focusing in on this theme and really trying to incorporate this idea into their programmatic activities, some of the things that I want you all to think about is what are some of the ways that you can engage your communities in sharing what they value most about it. What's their connection to their waterway, and how do they, what they're saying and what they're sharing with you, how does that connect back to your organization goals and mission? And what's the connection there? And so if anybody has any more questions about this, I'll try to take some after the session as well, but feel free to email me at any time and we can walk with you on thinking about these a little bit more. You'll also see more questions like this in the application form itself. So I'll leave it at that. And then I'm just going to jump into the timeline and then more specific questions that you'll find in our application. So as Aria shared, today's the official day. City of Water Day applications now open. I'm also going to ask Zoe to drop the link to the website where you'll find the application ready to go. You have until May 12th to be able to submit that application if you want to be considered for funding. So that's very, very important. Please make sure that that's a date that you keep in mind. By the last week of May, we want to be able to notify you about your award status. And so that's why that funding deadline of May 12th is very important, because we want to be able to quickly, in a 2-week turnaround, be able to say, yes, you are getting a grant. And so please make sure that you keep that date in mind. By June 3rd, we want to be able to share with you that partner toolkit that Aria covered earlier today. And again, this will have a range of different documents and resources that you can use to then promote your events. It'll have sample social media posts that you can use to promote your programs. And as well as something that we did a little bit differently last year is we also provided sample invitation letters. So if you want to invite your elected officials to your programs, you can just go ahead and fill in the information of your program onto this template, and then you can go ahead and share that. So it'll be a lot of really interesting and helpful resources to you in that toolkit. So please be on the lookout for that. And then by June 10th, we want to be able to have a fully populated map. And this is why it's very important for you to provide us with as much information as possible in that City of Water Day application, because after that, we want to be able to promote your programs for a full month. And so this will include reporters, this will include newsletters, this will include different websites. We want to be able to share this with everyone. And so In order to do that, we're going to need some pretty up-to-date details, right, about your program. So just keep that in mind. By June 10th, we want to have a map that is fully populated and that it is updated with as much current information as much as possible. And then July 13th will be officially City of Lauderdale, where we will all be celebrating together. And so like last year, we're also planning to be able to visit as many of your events as possible. And so, also look out for either Blue Waterfront Alliance shirt or Hudson River Foundation hat, because we're coming to your events as much as possible too, where we're trying to visit many of you as much as we can. And so digging into the application a little bit more, I think I'm just going to cover some of the main factors to keep in mind as you're putting your application together. I think for us, these are the three major takeaways that we want to walk away with as we're reviewing these applications. We want to be able to for you to give us a preview of what your events and your goals are as part of this event, as part of this program. We want to be able to see who you're working with. How are you working with other partners to maximize the impact of your event? We really want to hear about those collaborations. Are you reaching out to artists within your community? Are you reaching out to other groups who share the same mission as you do? And what are you doing to engage with those groups? And we really just want to hear about the impact of your program in your community. Is this something that your community now gets excited about? That's a story that we've definitely have been hearing a lot lately. Or are you doing this for the first time? If you are, tell us why it's so important to bring City of Lauderdale to your community and to your backyard. So we really want to be able to walk away from these applications getting an understanding of who your organization is and what the impact of your program will be. And to dig even like a little bit more into some of those questions that you will find in the application, one of the things that we ask for are what are you hoping to achieve through your City of Lauderdale program? So again, what are those particular activities that you have planned? If you're doing a shoreline cleanup, does that go hand in hand with an education session about why microplastics or floatables and why reducing a lot of that is so important? We want to be able to hear about it. What's the goal behind some of these activities that you have planned? We also want to know that you are also making an effort to engage with your community. Do you have a target audience? If so, we want to be able to know how you are planning to reach those folks, and that you are really doing everything to get as many folks to your event, especially if you want to be considered for a grant, right? We want to make sure that City of Lauderdale programs reach as many people as possible. And so we want to make sure that if you're going above and beyond or going the extra mile to make sure that you are bringing those people to your event, that we want to make sure that we know that. And again, tell us who you're collaborating with and tell us why. The partnerships don't necessarily have to all be environmental organizations. If you're partnering with a local farming group, like a local urban farming group, that's amazing. We want to know why. Why is it important to be able to mix those two groups together? We've had environmental organizations partner with youth soccer teams before because they're really great at just volunteering and helping pick up trash. We want to be able to see that. Nothing's rolled out. We want to be able to see those really creative partnerships and relationships. And then I just want to say, again, so what's sort of the mission of your event? What are the takeaways that your audience is going to leave with as your participants are walking away from these events? What's the message that they're walking away with? And in particular, how does it relate to this year's theme, right? Which is, again, how are we collecting that feedback in terms of a value? How are they valuing their waterways and their community, and sort of what's their vision for a resilient future and their community? What does that mean, right? So And lastly, what else are you doing to ensure your City of Lauderdale program's success? Again, so we want to be able to hear that you are doing multiple things to make sure that your program is attended by as many participants as possible, and that you're going above and beyond to make sure that participants are having a great time and learning about climate change, right, as they participate in these activities, especially if you want to be considered for a City of Lauderdale grant. And so with that, I'm just going to quickly remind you all that, again, the application's now live. You have the link here, and I believe it's also in the chat. Just a reminder again to make sure that you're uploading your programs and that the information provided on there is up to date as much as possible so that we can then promote your events through our communication channels. And here is just a few examples of some of the ways we'll do that. Waterfront Alliance and HEP have a City of Lauderdale exclusive newsletter in the month of July, where we put all of your events together and we share them with thousands of partners that are part of that list. We also share your events through our social media channels. And then of course there's our events map, which is live on our website 24/7 during that month. And then what we do is we also share and promote your events with local news channels. And you can see here, there's your little screen grab of one of the reporters who actually made their way to Hoboken last year, where we had a couple videos produced from CBS on some of the events that were taking place. And so we get, a lot of emails every year about, people wanting to visit a lot of places. And so hopefully, we can send many of them your way this year as well. And so just keep that in mind. That's why that information in your application is so important in terms of us getting the most current and most up-to-date details for your programs. And so I'll leave it at that. Please make sure that you're checking out the City of Lauderdale website to stay on top of City of Lauderdale news. If you have any questions, again, like Aria mentioned, there's the contact us form, or feel free to reach out to us as well. And just make sure that you're also following us on social media so that you're also staying on top of the latest news about City of Lauderdale. And so with that, I'll go ahead, and before we jump into sort of this next piece, let me just double check to see if anybody has any questions on the chat.
Liz, we did have a few. If you'll scroll back to Jen Kepler at 12:50, I can read it. She was asking that we did have a very hot day last year, and so we experienced some low turnouts. Jen wanted to know if others had a similar issue and what our protocol is for extreme heat.
That's such a good question. Yeah, and that's definitely been brought up in the past. As you all know, City of Lauderdale for a very long time now has now been held in the second Saturday of every July. So to keep it the tradition, we've been having it continue on the same date. We don't have a go-to protocol. What we do say, the one thing I can think of, and my folks at Waterfront Alliance can jump in here too if you have additional thoughts, is one thought is if it does get to the heat gets too extreme, let's essentially go with our extreme weather sort of guidelines, which is if it happens, and because events are independently produced, you don't have to feel like you have to be out there. If it's an independent event, you really essentially come up with your own time. And if you want to set so much as a rain date, if the weather just seems to be too extreme that day, then you want to switch to a different day. I think that's, for us, it's something that we would understand.
I can jump in here too, Liz, because just for everyone to clarify, as Liz mentioned, each of the events are hosted independently, and for marketing purposes and for purposes of City of Lauderdale, events to be considered as part of City of Lauderdale need to be hosted on City of Lauderdale on July 13th. Now, what time that happens during the day of July 13th is absolutely up to the discretion of the event holders. So if you want to do it in the afternoon, in the late afternoon, in the evening, in the super early morning, all of those are options to you. And as long as that's specified in your application and clear on the website, then that will be clear in any of the marketing materials that we put out. Additionally, just to give some ideas, two other things. One, Waterfront Alliance is working on some extreme heat resources. They will not combat the extreme heat, but they can provide information for the local communities. So if at the time it is really, really hot that day in your area, we can share resources with the public that can help them. Again, it might not help specifically with the event, but it will help the community. The third suggestion is, if you know the type of event that you're going to be hosting could be heavily subject to extreme heat, or your audience that you're targeting for this event is not going to be able to handle that. Some ideas could be to partner with organizations that do have the capabilities to handle that, such as local cooling centers from the city, organizations and groups that have access to shaded areas. So considering that, if you know that your event last year was impacted by extreme heat, keeping that in mind for the application, and then, reaching out to us to see if there's some options that you might have. But those are kind of my 3 cents, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Thanks for jumping in, Aria. I did also just want to bring attention to Lori's comment where, she's sort of started just moving their event to early morning, as well as making sure that everyone's hydrated for the day. So that's another thought to keep in mind. But like I said, thank you for bringing it up as a concern. I know that it's definitely come up in the past, and I think it's something that we also need to circle back to and just continue to think about as we move forward with City of Water Day.
Yeah, I think another question that came up a couple times, Liz, in the chat was people asking about partner applications. So how does that work if 2 orgs are partnering together? Do they apply separately? Do they apply together? How is that grant broken out?
Yeah, thank you. So for that, I would say if you know that there's 2 or 3 partners that you are definitely going to be working with, I would say pick a lead applicant, have them submit an application, and then just make sure that that partner then lists everyone else that they are working with in the application. For us, we will provide the grant to that partner who's submitting the application, and then we leave it up to them to distribute those funds however they best see fit. But for us, that's kind of like the easiest way to be able to distribute those grants. Have a lead applicant, and then once the funding is provided to that lead applicant, feel free to distribute that amongst yourselves. You don't have to tell us sort of like how it's broken down. That's the best way for us to be able to distribute those funds. I'm looking up to see if there's anything else.
Yeah, I think we have one more key question about water quality cancellations. Crafting a uniform policy. We can definitely work on producing some uniform materials for you guys. We are keeping a log of the chat today. So if there's any other additional suggestions that you guys have, please drop them in the chat. We'll be exporting and reviewing that and taking into account all ideas here today. I don't know if you have anything else to say on that, Liz.
Yeah, no, other than just like thanks, Eric, for the suggestion. I think we can definitely put our heads together and see if we can create any education materials that we can then share and distribute. I will say, I think it kind of goes back to the first question about the extreme heat. If you feel that it's putting your participants at risk, if you feel like it's too much of at risk in having them engaged with the water, then, like I said, as an independent organ or event, you're entitled to switch things to a different date if it comes to that, for sure. But in terms of an education, teachable moment, I think we can definitely be able to put our heads together and see what we can provide in that partner toolkit as well. All right, so I think that covers it all. And if we did miss anything, we'll be sure to go ahead and circle back. We'll go ahead and go through this chat just to make sure we're reaching back out with additional answers. So for this next bit, what we really want to do is be able to provide you all the space to engage with one another. We're going to open breakout rooms in just a minute, and the breakout rooms are going to be set by borough, by county, and by New Jersey. And so what we ask is for you to be able to jump in there according to where your event will take place, and really keep these questions in mind as you connect with the other participants in that room. We'll have Waterfront Alliance and have folks just floating in and out of the rooms to make sure that we're helping address any questions. But what we really want to do is just help you provide the space to share ideas, share lessons learned from last year. If you have any challenges that you're already encountering as you're planning for your events, or that you think are going to come up, this is the time to be able to pick other people's brains about how they're dealing with those challenges. And what could you be able to apply in order to make sure that your event is successful. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to keep these questions in mind. Like I said, I'll have folks floating around the breakout rooms, and they'll also put these questions in the chat for you to make sure that you have them. But we really want you to do is to just connect, share ideas, and be able to identify potential partners as well, especially if you're within the same room, right? These are the people that you should be looking to collaborate and to form those partnerships if you're still looking for additional partners. And so with that, unless I'm missing anything,
Let's do
everyone
it. We're
else-
only going to have about 10 to 15 minutes for this. Welcome back, everybody. We'll just give it one more minute for all the breakout room conversations to close. I think everyone's back now.
I
So
think so.
great. All right. Well, thank you everybody for participating today in the breakout discussions, for putting in the chat, your plans, your ideas, your excitement. Again, if you have any additional questions, comments, ideas, things you want to see from City of Waterday organizers, things you're looking for in City of Waterday partners, drop those in the chat. As I said, we'll be reviewing the chat log, making those connections for you guys. If any partnerships or discussions came out of your breakout rooms, the Waterfront Alliance and HEP staff will be sure to note that and follow up as needed. We just wanted to also share a survey link. I'll be dropping it in the chat now. Oh, well, Liz already dropped it. That's great. So this survey is really just if you guys are looking for more specific information or ideas for hosting an event, or learning more about how you can get involved with City of Waterday with or without an event, or you have a specific question about your application, any of the above, fill out this very, very short, under a minute survey, and we'll be sure to follow up with any of those specific requests for ideas or the like. So again, Zoe just dropped in that final summary of all of the links from today. So the follow-up survey, the action agenda, the application, which is now live. The application can be found on the website. These other two are here for today. We'll include that survey link in the follow-up email as well. So if you jump off this call and you're like, oh my gosh, wait, a question just came to me, worry not. You can still get in touch with us through that form or through the contact page on cityofwaterday.org. But that's kind of it. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're so excited to kick off another successful City of Waterday.